Why is it that we grind at our jobs so hard and play so little? The limited time off that we earn is a valuable resource that we hoard away for the things in life that we like most. PTO is all about the hobbies we do with our time off and what they do for us. Who knows? You might even find a new thing to try with your PTO. Or a sick day. Just don't tell the boss when it's a sick day. Welcome to the Paid Time Outdoors podcast.
I remember like shining a flashlight up and seeing about 5 or 6 pairs of eyes, like watching us. And like the guy I was with was like, oh, let's just assume they're deer. I see this big Tom just dragging his fat ass belly and beard across the field.
This is Marcus with the Paid Time Outdoors podcast. We're recording with our first in-person guest so far with the podcast, so that's pretty exciting. So I brought Ben in. We have a little celebration that we like to do by drinking Funky Brass Monkeys. So we've got Funky Brass Monkeys in front of us. All right, Ben, before we get started, what is a Funky Brass Monkey?
So it's something we started doing in college a lot whenever we wanted to celebrate an event or just get a little squirrely one night. You start off, take a sip there. You start off with a 40 ounce of usually some sort of malt liquor or some sort of, I don't know, just beer. We used to do Colt 45s, but a lot of times we do Old English 40s now. You drink down to the top of the label on the bottle. And once you get there, you put in 2 shots of rum and then fill the rest with orange juice. You know, gently mix it, and that's your night.
It sounds kind of disgusting, but it's much better than it sounds, I promise. Oftentimes we drink these. We say, hey, whoever shoots the smaller buck this year when we're deer hunting, they have to buy the Funky Brass Monkeys. Or if we made bets doing something silly or stupid, or it's worth the celebration. And I haven't seen Ben in about a year or so. Well, I guess less than that because of turkey hunting.
Yeah.
Ben also hosts our turkey hunting event that we all meet up for in the northern part of the country in the springtime. We had Ken on and Josh on, both of them join us for our turkey hunt. So we head up, we stay with Ben, we have Funky Brass Monkeys, and we have a good time. So, Ben, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? What's your deal?
Okay, yeah. I'm kind of a Wisconsin guy through and through. Grew up in the Green Bay area, kind of small town around there. Lived in Stevens Point for a while. It's where I met Mark in college. Now I live around the Madison area in Wisconsin, just west of Madison, a small town out there.
Nice. Yeah, we kind of lucked out. We just randomly got roommates.
Really, that's it. A computer made us roommates in college, and we've been good buds since.
Yeah. We got along super well. We went to a couple of rugby parties, and then from there on out, we just kind of hung out. Ben was the best man in our wedding. It's just kind of known Ben kind of forever. So Ben has a really cool history with jobs. He's got a lot of different positions and jobs, as many people have had when you're young, figuring out what the hell it is that you like, what you like to do. Can you remember what your first job at all was?
My very first job was cleaning buses in the summer. My mom was a school bus driver, and so in the summer that all the 20 buses I had to get scrubbed top to bottom. So I did that, making like $5 an hour in the summer.
Nice.
So, but then my first, I would say, real job was milking cows on the neighbor's farm.
Do you ever have to clean up like barf or nasty shit out of the buses?
No, this wasn't like while they're in use, so it was just in the summer when they were just idle.
Cool. Did you like doing that, or is it just kind of like whatever? I'll
It was
do something for money.
I was like 13 and like didn't even work a 8-hour shift, so it was just like something for just to do, I guess.
Daycare. Your mom needed somebody to watch.
Kind of,
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you did that.
Yep.
You were about 13, 14 when you were doing that?
Something like that.
So kind of like a cash under the table type of deal?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did like old ladies' garbage cans and mowing lawns and snow blowing and...
Did a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Babysitting the neighbor kids, that kind of thing.
What I used to do is, so I was in Chicagoland, I would come up to someone's front door with a shovel and knock on the door and say, hey, can I, remove the snow in front of your place for, $30 or whatever? And... Yeah. And then they'd say, yeah. And then I'd go, okay, I'm going to get started. And then I'd go around the corner where the snowblower is and I'd pull start that thing. And, if they just see it with a shovel, they would think, oh, he's going to shovel this whole thing. Of course, I'll pay him for that.
That's really entrepreneurial of you. and a little shady,
Yeah,
but
a
I
little bit,
respect that. That's
a little
nice,
bit.
yeah.
All right, so you went and you cleaned some buses.
Yeah.
What other kind of jobs have you had that were notable?
Yeah, like I said, in high school and stuff, I milked cows part-time, kind of around my sports schedule and stuff, so that was really the first job I had with, like, a schedule and a, time card and that kinda thing.
Is there like job training for that? Are they like, all right, go like this?
They were like, "You got the hand motion down, like, you can figure it out." My older brother worked there before me, and they're like, "Well, if," and he was kinda known as a hard worker, and they were like, "Well, if you work half as hard as he does, you got the job." And I thought, "Let's not set the bar too high," you know?
And I think it was helpful because you were a wrestler too, and you
Yep,
had the grip strength where you were the vice grip clamp man when
yep.
it came to wrestling. Cool. What other jobs you had? Anything else?
Okay, so after high school, I enlisted in the Army. Yeah, started off as infantryman, worked my way up to a recon platoon, then got selected for a sniper team. So I did that for 4 years, the tour in Afghanistan.
Thanks for your service.
Yeah, thanks, bud.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, you know all this, but the
Those
people
people
listening
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, got
Did
to.
you like that, or why did you decide that you wanted to join the army in the first place?
So I like since I was a kid, I always thought like guns and camouflage and like I had the GI Joes and the micro machines. Like the army was like military things were my jam. I like military history and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I enlisted when I was, I don't know, 3 days after I turned 18 or something like that. Uh, but yeah, I don't. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. Wasn't something I'm glad I did it. I'm proud of my service and everything, but
Hmm.
I didn't want to make a career out of it. So
Yeah.
I was in there
Were your
for.
parents pretty open to it? Did they know all along that's what you wanted to
They
do, or?
definitely knew that that was my kind of end game goal. Obviously, it can be hard for parents to see, your son shipped off, and then overseas was when I was there. It was kind of rough on them, but yeah, they weren't surprised by my choice at all. So
And there's like a family history, if I remember right,
a little bit, yep.
of
So
yeah. What's
definitely
it?
got some uncles that served as well. Both grandfathers, served in the army. Actually, one might have been Marines. Now that I think about it, but yeah, so it wasn't anything my parents hadn't known about or were surprised by, I guess. But yeah, they were just more concerned that I kinda use that as, like, either, like, learn a trade or, like, some sort of obviously, went to college on the GI Bill, so they were, happy for that. They just didn't want it to be just, like, a short time thing just because I thought it was neat, I they wanted me to use that as the basis for a career or a life kinda thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Did you like the army? I mean, was it?
Definitely parts of it, and there's definitely parts where, it didn't work so smooth and that kinda thing, but overall, I'd say a positive experience.
And what did you do with your leave time when you were in the army?
Almost entirely just, like, would come home and visit home. It's kind of a I was stationed in upstate New York, so, quick plane ride back to Wisconsin and, kinda try to plan it around the things I used to do before I left, around hunting season or summer activities or go snowmobiling or whatever it was.
Yeah, do your folks make a big thing out of it when you're coming home? It's like, oh,
Um,
Ben's on his way. Everybody come and let's.
sometimes, like, if I was home for, we'd have, like, block leave, it'd be, like, 2 weeks at a time, and it didn't feel so crunched, so, but if I was just coming back for sometimes a long weekend, 4 or 5 days or something like that, it felt super rushed trying to see everybody and do everything in a very short window.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're out of the army.
Yep,
You've gained a whole bunch of different skills. There's a lot that you get out of that. Um,
absolutely.
did you have like your goals, or did you have something set for when you're done with the army, when you've completed all of your time, you were gonna follow a plan, or what was the deal with that?
So when I initially enlisted, I was up to the idea of like making it a career or whatever. And after a few years in, I kind of realized like, this is great. It's not for me. I'll go to college, right? So that became kind of my new plan after the army. So I
Did
knew that.
you have any idea what you want to go to college for though?
So I started off going for I love the outdoors, right? So I was going to do something natural resources esque. I believe I initially signed up for forestry as a major. So eventually switched over to natural resources law enforcement, which I thought, kind of a little military angle works its way well into the law enforcement thing. Still love the outdoors, that kind of stuff. Um, did it for a little while after I graduated, realized that, that wasn't for me either. So I ended up, going through the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Academy on top of the college bachelor's degree of natural resources.
Yeah. And then when we were undergrads, we were also playing rugby at the same time. So
Yeah.
Ben joined the rugby team, like kind of like, hey, there's a poster. I want to try this thing. And then we were new roommates, and I was like, "Hey, what are you into?" And he was like, "Well, I just started rugby." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And eventually that's how I joined, as Ben kind of recruited me to play.
Yeah, I had never played before college, and I would say far and away that defined my life and career and path forward more than college itself did, just from, who I know and kind of the friends I made and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I absolutely love the heck out of it. I had always played some kind of sports, so I wanted to, even if it was just a rec league, whatever. And a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, I know this guy on the rugby team. Maybe you should check that out." I'm like, "Cool." Don't know nothing about it, but it was by far the most fun I ever had and some of the best friends I ever made.
We had so much fun.
Yeah.
We got into all sorts of trouble and avoided trouble. Um, but you went on, I mean, even after undergrad, we had some great seasons, but you went on to do more with the rugby community after college too, didn't you?
Yeah. So I refed a little bit for a little while. That kind of worked well with like the law enforcement angle, where like, yeah, you're kind of just a referee of the woods kind of thing.
I can't do that.
Basically. They don't give you a whistle though. Uh, and then yeah, I ended up coaching too as well. The Stevens Point boys for a couple of years. We had a couple of good seasons. It was really fun, and I and it eventually just moved away for jobs and stuff like that. So
You do any refing? You said you did refing.
yep, yeah,
Yeah.
once in a while, a few times I did.
Hmm. Okay, cool. So that was over. College is
Yeah.
now in the rearview mirror. Kind of nostalgic to reflect on that time. It seems like it was yesterday when we were on the pitch smashing people,
If only it was yesterday.
but no, now it's like it was a long time ago, like
10, 11
13,
years.
14, yeah, a while ago. So a lot has happened since then.
Yeah.
So once you finished living in that area, you moved somewhere else for a different job.
Yeah. So I was driving beer truck for a couple of years out of Wausau. So that was just kind of like didn't really know what to do, and I knew a guy that worked there, and he offered me the job, and did that for a couple years until I kind of kept something on the radar. And then a friend of mine was working in Minnesota for a optics company that did a lot of night vision thermal stuff. And they're like, "Hey, we need a guy that's kind of our product tester, product development, kind of our resident expert with the optics and that kind of stuff." And because they were a very small company, kind of planning on growing and whatever, so I moved out to Red Wing, Minnesota, to work up there for them.
And that was cool because we went on a hunting trip to Texas,
Hmm.
where we got to borrow some gear, like thermal gear. I know you and Josh used some thermal scopes and stuff, and I had some ready for me. I just ended up using the bow. I filled my freezer with the bow that time, but I was ready to throw the thermals on. But it was real
Oh
nice
yeah.
having the ability to switch over if I needed to that.
Yeah, I've gone on a few hawk hunting trips down south, and thermal is just a game changer. It feels like a cheat code,
Yeah.
but it's really fun. And yeah, there's some really cool gadgets and toys when you get into that.
Well, and there's so many hogs down there that are just
Oh,
rooting up their property
oh
and
yeah.
making holes so their horses step in them and break their legs, and they're awful down there. Texas, I mean, all
Mm-hmm.
along the South, but you
Oklahoma.
know, it's pretty cool to be able to go in and bring some pork home that you're like, oh, it always tastes different when you bring it
Oh,
home.
absolutely. Yeah, we had coolers full. That was a great time.
Hmm. And the pigs that we killed on my trip, they were in eastern Texas.
Mount Pleasant. Yep,
Hmm.
around there.
And the pigs kind of tasted sagey to me,
Hmm.
like they were eating some sort of herb or some sort of
Oh, that definitely could be.
something
Yeah.
where it kind of tasted sagey to me. But so you had access to this awesome gear. We
Hmm.
got to use it. I mean, there's nothing better than integrating the things that you like in your job,
Yeah.
and I think that's pretty seamless in that situation. But you didn't stay there forever.
Nope. I don't know how much to talk about the company, but it kind of was kind of fizzling out. Wasn't really a long term plan, that a long term situation. So I ended up moving back to Wisconsin to work for a different kind of optics company. So now, yeah, and I work in the metrology lab. So I kind of it's kind of attached to their machining parts. So they machine all the parts, and we measure them and do the inspection plans and calibrations and that sort of thing. So yeah, I started in quality control and then moved into this role.
And did your first optics job help, like, get you ready for the job that you
Oh,
took on with the other
oh,
place?
absolutely. Just kind of the industry in general. Knowing kind of some of the lingo, some of the events, some of the, oh, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just the industry in general, I guess, for
So I'm
sure.
sure in your interview they were like, what is the size of the diopter for a blah 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 blah, and you're like, oh yeah, that's that's the stuff.
Yeah, so a lot of people, like most, I guess most people when they buy an optic, they don't get into the stats. but there are some very few people who really, like, kinda take a pride in, like, the diving into, like, "Oh, I need to know the exact field of view at 115 yards," you know? Like, "Oh, this is only 8.4? Well, this other scope is 8.6, so I get."
Yeah. Let's
So
change the magnification so
yeah.
that we are, you know.
So you definitely learn that, like, 90% of the people, are just have a casual interest, or, like, they don't dive too deep, but there are some folks you really gotta know your stuff on, because they really grill you on the what you need to know about different scopes and stuff. And that's kinda fun for me. I like the optics and stuff, so yes, yes, I was a nerd.
Everyone's a nerd at something.
Still am.
Everything's a
That's
nerd
fine.
at something, but if you could find a job with the thing you're a nerd at, like, that works. So, like, I'm in conservation education. I've always been kind of like a nerd in that way, where I like the outside. I like talking to lots of people. So what's better than that than to have, 30, 40 kids curious about the world, take them out into the woods and teach them stuff that
Yeah,
way
you
too.
find your thing and you dive into it. That's
Yeah.
what makes it, quote unquote nerdy, is that you really kinda go deep into it.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that you made the trip down here to Iowa to
Absolutely.
podcast in person.
Good to see you again.
That's really cool. Today we went out and we did something new and different.
That was fun
We
though.
had never done.
Yeah.
We went to like a local gun range where they had like a pistol competition. And
Mhm.
that is, I'm more of an archery bow guy. I think I take my pistol out once or twice a year. And so there wasn't much going on in our small Iowa town.
And
That
I
was one of the only things going on.
and I'm certainly more of a rifle guy and a
I
deer hunting guy.
I imagine. And so when that popped up, I was like, "Hey, nothing else is going in town. Guns are fun. Let's go do this."
Yep.
We signed up and we went and we shot with some strangers. And what kind of shoot did we do today? You explain what it was?
It was called a, bowling pin hostage shoot.
Yeah.
So each lane had, like, a wooden rack with 6 white bowling pins and 2 black bowling pins, and those were, like, the quote unquote "hostages." So you had to shoot the 6 white ones without knocking over the 2 hostage pins, and then obviously the first one to do that was the victor of each round. So
Hmm.
we, we learned a few things. We had some fun. We definitely realized that we're not, very far into the competitive,
Yeah.
short range pistol shooting.
It's very different shooting your pistol once or twice a year, like myself, than these guys. They had very like specialized grips and like fancy red dots. We were going iron sights.
Some barrels and
Everybody had the same like Ruger Mark IV pistol with a shooting 22 long rifle, and we show up with a 9 mil and a 40.
I mean,
Uh,
kudos to you. You had the largest caliber in the pack. Like, you were putting the biggest holes in the pins. Seriously, bud. So, yeah,
it
I think that last round you said, "What, I got off 4 rounds and the other guy was done already?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time he fired off all of his rounds and all of his pins were over, and he didn't shoot any of the hostage pins, you had 4 shots off. But at the same time, like, we don't do this stuff all the time. It's
Yeah.
cool to kinda step outside of your comfort zone and try something different,
And
right?
all the guys there were friendly. It wasn't overly competitive or nothing. I mean, it was, you were trying, but, yeah. There's definitely some other guys there that were kinda like us, their first time. I think a few guys said it was their first time doing something like that, so
Mhm.
it
And
was
then
fun to compete alongside them.
it was, and then once we finished, I noticed that when other folks were also eliminated, they were like, "All right, I'm packing it up and just, like, getting out of here." And we were like, "All right, let's head to the brewery in town."
That's a good
So,
thing.
hey, so
I think if it would have been, like, only a few guys left, maybe we'd stuck around to see who won, but, like, we didn't know any of the people,
yeah,
we didn't have a vested interest in it or
yeah.
that sort of thing, but it was fun, it was a good experience, like, I think I'll end up doing more of this kinda
Yeah, I
stuff.
think I'll probably end up too. At some point, I might get like a 22 pistol.
Mhm.
Maybe not the fancy Mark IV, but
Yeah.
for plinking and practicing.
Mhm.
I definitely found out I need to practice after today.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
we even went to the ammo store before we went. We were like, hey, let's shoot at the range and kind of
Yeah,
familiarize. It's been a while since I shot, so we don't look like a moron when we're there.
we know which end to point, you know.
So we went to the ammo shop, picked up ammo, went to the range, practiced, and then we are like, "Hey, we might need more ammo when we're at this
Of course,
competition."
we obviously thought, yo, we're working our way all the way through the competition, we're gonna so many rounds of this double elimination tournament, we're gonna need hundreds of rounds,
Oh,
of
I'm gonna need a
course,
couple hundred
at
rounds, yeah.
least.
So then after we went to the range the first time, we went back to the store, and it was the same guy working at the gun counter, and he's talking to us, and I was like, "Yep, I need some ammo." I'm like, I'll take this ammo right here," and he was like, "Wow, like you're the second guy here today." to look for this ammo. Is there something special about this ammo?" And I'm like, "Well, it's the same size as the other stuff. I want to shoot the same grain, 40 Smith and Wesson ammo." And he goes, "Oh, no way." And then Ben goes, "And I'll take 2 boxes of this 9 mil over here." And he goes, "The guy he was with was also also wanted the same thing. That wasn't you, was it?" And I was just kind of laughing, keeping to myself. And Ben was like, "Yeah, that was us. We're
Yeah.
just yanking your leg,
I
man."
didn't want to think that guy was seeing ghosts or a glitch in the matrix or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So we got extra ammo, and I still came home with more ammo in
Yeah,
the gun.
if I fired 30 rounds the whole thing, that'd probably be about it.
Yeah, still fun though. I mean,
Absolutely. I'd be down to do it again, you
yeah.
know?
Well, maybe on another visit, I'll see when they're doing that again. You come back down
Sound
here.
like they have kind of a league going.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
So you've worked quite a few jobs.
Mhm.
You've kind of figured out what it is in life that you like so much.
Mhm.
What does it look like when you get paid time off now? Do you get like a certain amount at the start of the year, or do you earn it as you go?
Nope, we get a set amount of days at the beginning of the year. And so I kind of, plan ahead what I'm doing with my PTO and stuff. But all of our paid time off, we don't have, sick days, vacation. It's all rolled into one. So
Oh, that's cool.
I try to, use it for obviously vacations, but I kind of keep a few reserve days just to not feeling well, that sort of thing.
That's nice. You don't have to like tell your boss you're sick, and then he runs into you
Yep.
at like the gas
Yep.
station.
Yep. Yeah, I work in a small lab with like two other guys. So we try to, coordinate and be honest with each other. If you don't think you're going to come in, whatever. Try to like plan ahead, but it's pretty fluid, pretty relaxed when you need days for different stuff.
Well, I know that you took a couple days to come down here and
Mhm.
hang
Yeah.
and do what we're doing this weekend. Um, if there was a weekend that was like the perfect weekend for the outdoor topic that you like the most, weather is looking good. Your cats at home are cared for. You got a couple of cats.
Yeah.
Maybe your family's watching them or something. And you had one special thing to spend your paid time outdoors, paid time off doing. What is that one topic you want to talk about today?
Oh man. Almost all my PTO, and I plan it out at the beginning of the year. Most of my PTO is used for hunting, one way or another. I use a few days maybe to go to concerts or visit some friends, but I always set aside a couple days for turkey hunting, a couple days for grouse hunting, obviously deer hunting in the fall. So that's usually most of my PTO is a set aside for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's a huge family component to hunting, a culture. There's the culture of deer camp.
Oh.
There's, I mean,
Yeah.
when you get together for grouse fest,
Mm-hmm.
also, I mean, even turkey camp. We introduced Ken, our buddy, who's like one of the first episodes on here, to turkey hunt. We took him turkey hunting for his first time, and he is like, "Oh,
You took him hunting for his first
yeah,
time. Like
yeah."
that was
His first any hunt was
yeah.
turkey hunting, which we just kind of figured out by YouTubing and,
Oh yeah,
talking word of mouth to our parents,
good entry
whatever.
levels. Oh.
Um, so obviously hunting is really important. When did you start hunting?
Oh, I mean, hunting anything when I was so our family has a cabin up in northern Wisconsin, and we spent most weekends, lots of time in the summer up there, so much time. So I mean, you're talking squirrels or frogs or something since
Hmm.
I was 8, 10. Since my older brother got his first BB gun, we were hunting something, beer cans or squirrels or something. So first time like buying a license would be, deer hunting when I was 12 with a bow or a rifle the next season. So I've been yeah, I haven't missed many years between that and now.
What do you think it was like your first official season where you're hunting that brought you back to it again?
So I would say it was even before I was old enough to actually have a license. I was 10, 11 or so, and my older brother had a little bow stand that was nearby, but he was sitting somewhere else, and it was walking distance from the cabin, very close. Like I was, like I said, 10 maybe, and I went up there, crawled up his ladder stand, sat there for a little bit, and a squirrel came along. Well, I popped it with my pellet gun. It squealed, and cool. And I sat there for a little bit longer. All of a sudden, I heard a thump, thump, thump. And my dad always said, like, if you hear a squirrel come to the woods, it sounds like a herd of elephants. But if you hear a thump, thump, that's usually a deer coming through or something bigger. So sure enough, a little like fork buck came through, went right to his bait pile, because it was his bow stand. So right at the bait pile, sat there for a bit, and my heart was just hammering in my chest. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like this is what it's like. Like, oh, I'm so excited because I had you always see deer from the road or you see them out the cabin window. You never get that was the first like up close and personal, like, oh, if I had a bow, I could shoot this damn thing,
I'm
you
sure
know?
you look at your BB gun and are like,
Yeah.
"Well, will it? Would it?"
Like, no, no, wait. Maybe if I go 12 pumps, like don't. So, but I eventually walked away and like it wasn't even over the hill and I was down the ladder running to the cabin. Mama, guess what I saw?
Yeah.
So I was so just hooked from that moment on.
Mhm.
Absolutely enjoyed it. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So have you been, like, hunting the same spots forever, or do you switch your spots up at camp when you go to deer camp?
So we always used to bow hunt and stuff around our family's cabin, but we
Mhm.
would gun hunt at a cabin nearby, kind of like my dad's friends and stuff like that. That was our deer camp. When I was younger, we would usually kind of have the same spots, not too far from the cabin, or when me and my brothers were bow hunting, maybe within shouting distance of each other, that kind of thing. Wouldn't go too far. But when we gun hunt, it was kind of we like to have a couple different stands and move around and stuff. Uh, we never were a big like doing deer drives or that kind of thing. So it's kind of a sit and wait approach, I guess. And there's been different rules and regulations about baiting and stuff like that. So we would when we could and wouldn't when we couldn't and that sort of thing.
Yeah, when PWD showed its face in Wisconsin,
Hmm.
those rules changed quite a bit,
Yep.
and actually, CWD was first found, not far from Madison, Wisconsin was the first case.
And it's still pretty, I mean, much more prevalent in the southern part of the state. Hasn't really gone up to where we up in Forest County, which is damn near Michigan up there. So there's still it's a concern, but it's not, you know, as bad up there, I guess you could say.
At the same time, being in northern Wisconsin, there are predators that are also hunting the deer
Uh,
outside of the people, right? Not to mention that cars are smacking deer here and there, but does it seem like the deer herd has changed since when you started to now?
I mean, just in general, being the type of like non-agricultural area, hardwoods, that kind of stuff. Like people in southern Wisconsin and where I live, and like even back home around Green Bay, like there's deer everywhere. They live in the farm fields. They have plenty to eat. Winters aren't that bad. Up by our deer camp, they're a little more sparse for sure. And obviously they have there's wolves up there, different packs that roam around. Other competition for resources, that sort of thing.
Ever get wolves or bears on camera?
Absolutely. Yep. Just this past deer season, had a wolf come through. Looked like a big black German Shepherd.
Yeah, you
Running
ever
through the
you ever
woods.
see them when you're out sitting in the blind or the stand?
I haven't personally. I mean, most people have one time or another. I know my brother has that sort of thing. But he kind of like, when you see him, like, well, pack it up, heading home. Like, they're not gonna see any deer tonight. One time, a couple years ago, well, maybe 5, 6 years ago, I shot a spike like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving at night, like pretty close to dark. And people joke like, "Oh, you work for a night vision company, you got a scope on." Not the case. But I remember going, so I went back to the cabin, grabbed a four-wheeler, and one of the other guys at camp went back, helped me drag it and gut it and that sort of thing.
That's so much fun
And
to, like,
oh,
reach out to camp and be like, "Hey, guys, I shot one.
oh,
Come track it with me.
so we,
Let's
we don't
go
have
get."
no self-service or nothing up there. So you hear a shot and you're like, was that David? Well, I don't know. I'll have to wait till he comes back. Like it was about that direction. But we got back to where the deer was, and they didn't go very far from where I had shot it. But I remember like shining a flashlight up and seeing about 5 or 6 pairs of eyes, like watching us. And like the guy I was with was like, "Oh, let's just assume they're deer and hurry up and get this thing, get it out of here." It's like, "Did you bring a gun? No, did you? Ah, crap. Well, keep the four-wheeler running."
I had an experience, kinda like that. I was deer hunting in Southern Illinois, and for second season, you have your shotgun tag, and then you can also put in for a muzzleloader tag, so you have more tags, so you can take more deer if you need to.
Sure.
So I filled my shotgun tags, like, opening day, and then I still wanted to hunt, still had a couple days of the season left,
He's
so
subtly bragging right now. You guys get that?
that's not a brag. So I went and I was like, "Hey, I'll use the muzzle loader, and then that way if a doe or whatever walks by or a nice buck, I don't kick myself for shooting, the spikes that the spike I shot on the doe I shot." Anyway, so I'm hunting with the muzzle loader. It's like last light, and a doe comes out. Of course, they're crepuscular, means, they like dawn
Right.
and dusk. And I shoot a doe with the muzzleloader, the first muzzleloader kill I ever had. And it's like last light, gave her 30 minutes or so to expire, and
Yep.
then I walked down
Turned your
and
flashlight off.
went down and found her, and radioed, "Hey, Dad, I found the deer that I shot," because we can use two-way radios in Illinois.
Yep.
So like, "Hey, that shot you heard wasn't me injuring myself by accident." it was, I shot a deer and I found it. So, pretty much then he's like, okay, like I'll come and get you. We only got 30 minutes of light left. It's like the golden hour. So I'm going to just sit here in my stand. You do your thing and I'll come find you. And I went down, you have one shot in the muzzle loader when you you load it in there and cram the round in. And so like I didn't load another one in. I was like,
Like if
hey,
the red coats attack now, I'm screwed. Yeah.
to the whites of their eyes, right? So I just kind of I didn't even load it, just leaned it against a tree and had, put orange up above me. And just as I started gutting this deer, the coyote started going off. And I was like, oh, I was 14, 15. And
Sounds like an ambulance coming through the woods sometimes.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So I just started, I cleaned that thing out so fast, put my drag around it. It was on public land, so you can't use four-wheelers. You can't, so, and I didn't even have a game card at that point. So it was like a rope with a strap that you put around your chest and then you're dragging. That's what that is. And so the coyotes start going off and they're all around. I felt like I was surrounded. So I'm singing out loud, when I'm gutting this thing to sound like a person. And finally I gut it, I got my drag on it, and then it's dark, and my dad finally radios, hey, I'm kind of on my way over to your area. I'm hiking down the hill, and I'm like, there's coyotes going off all around me. I'm on my way. And he still says to this day that was the fastest he's ever seen me drag a deer is when the coyotes were after me and I had no shot in a muzzle loader.
You're loading that muzzle like, I'm taking one of you with me.
Yeah. That's cool. So you've been up there hunting with your dad. You have other family that comes up with you when you go?
Yep. My younger brother. My brothers have come in, and it was always, we say I've been hunting up there for 25 years, but you miss a few for work, or so once in a while you only get opening weekend, and then you gotta go back for work as careers change and that sort of thing. But yeah, we have a usual pretty steady crew, maybe 6, 8 guys opening weekend, and then maybe half a dozen by the end of the week, something like that. So
it's interesting that like we get together with a big deer camp and we say we're hunting together, but oftentimes you're together for breakfast, you're together for dinner, right? But you're spending the time by yourself.
Yeah.
We say that we're hunting with a group, but really like you're out there by yourself, and then you're telling stories around the fire at the end of the day.
And the stories thing, the deer camp, and you go up there and you talk to the old guys and you hear the same damn stories you've been hearing since you were 12. And if they don't get funnier every time you hear them, and you just appreciate like the oral legacy that's being passed down and that sort of thing. Like, let me tell you about the good old days. What, Chuck, when was that? 81, 85? Like it was, they have their crazy stories. Like we have our old crazy rugby stories that we'll be telling when we're in our 80s or whatever. Yeah.
And then, you egg each other on. I'm like, hey, Joe, tell the Berber rug story about, about that. I got to hear that again. And it's, that's like a huge thing. Deer camp has a lot of different personalities. If you think fish stories are like a crazy story, I mean, I think deer hunting stories or hunting stories in general are even beyond fish stories.
The cool thing too is like you said, you're in the woods by yourself. It's your story to tell, like if you were sleeping, you woke up, there's a deer and you shot it, you might come back like, anyway, I was sitting there and I heard him coming, yeah. After I had to fight off the hodag because, to get that buck.
And of course, like hindsight, you also have more introspective. You're like, oh, of course, I felt the wind on my face and I just knew that he was coming from this way,
Where the first buck I ever shot, I hit it. It kind of ran off a little bit. I got down, went back to the camp. It was getting pretty dark, and they were like, "Well, like, if you hit them like vital, you hit them in the vitals, or hit them pretty good, like their tail won't go up when they run away. It'll just kind of be down." And they're like, "Was it up or was it down?" And I'm sitting there like, "Oh, my heart was hammering 1,000 miles an hour. Like I don't know, like, yeah, like I didn't hear the gunshot. I just, and it turns, it didn't run very far at all. But so I never like." Before that point, no one ever said, hey, when you shoot it, pay attention to the tail,
Similarly, today, after I shot the first round, when we did our pistol hostage pin shoot.
Yes. Those bowling pins knew what they did.
I was like tunnel visioned in on the pins and everything like that. And I don't know how many I shot, like what exactly happened. So
the first round was pretty good.
So to recall the details, just like your first deer hunting thing is like, Oh, I don't remember if
They're
he
like, when you shot, did the gun go bang? No, it was quiet.
did he mule kick? Like, we wear earplugs when we're at the range, but when you're hunting and you shoot, you're like, "That wasn't even was it loud? Did
Did
it
it
go
go off?
off?" Did
Did it recoil? I mean, it must have, right? They do every time, but like, did it? I don't know.
Yeah, but I think, like, after tunning for a long time, you kinda slow down and try to control some of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely the that buck fever that, like, oh, this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me.
So do they think, like, "Oh, you have to" Ben went to sniper school, so any deer that is within a mile of him,
So
he must shoot. Do you have that, like
there's not a lot of deer up there, but thankfully to this point in my life, I have never not I've never shot and not got the deer. So far I've avoided that, I think. But like, we'll go bird hunting and somebody will flesh up a a grouse or whatever, and I'll bang, bang, fuck, get away. Oh, some sniper you are. You hear it bad, or shooting clays with my brother or something like that. It's like, yeah, that's the
I'm sure you're like, "Oh, it's funny, the Taliban never flew away out of the tree when I was"
I've said things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's that added pressure that is like, "Oh, Ben went to sniper school. Of course, if there's a deer within a mile, like, it doesn't stand a chance," but, I mean, if there's brush, there's anything there.
There's so much. And even that, like, it's not like I'm using military equipment. I'm not. I'm a bit out of practice too. I go deer hunting now once a year, and I go to the range a couple times a year, and I'm sure some of those some skills have dulled a bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, I still get it. Yeah. Or hell, I'll throw darts and I'll miss something. I'll be like, "What was that thing you used to do? You were a sniper." So yeah, I still get it.
So not only do you hunt deer, you hunt other stuff too, don't you?
Yeah.
What else?
So well, like you were talking about turkeys, right? You got a couple guys on talking about turkeys. We were talking earlier. So I'll skip over it. I go grouse hunting a lot too. Up north a lot. We have I guess I'm a little bit of a newcomer, but college friend of ours, like his dad and their buddies started this grouse fest up in northwestern Wisconsin.
Shout out to Fergie.
Fergie, yeah. So and this year was the 40th year or something like that. They go camp in the woods and they drink a ton of beer and they go out once in a while and try to shoot some grouse. So
But not after they had beer. They wait to drink until after they hunt.
yeah, sure. Uh, Sometimes, and honestly, some guys go up there, don't set foot in the woods. They just go up there to hang out and have fun with their buddies. So yeah, that was always fun. That was something I'd done as a kid too, on and off, just in the fall. Take a 410 and walk through the woods, see what you can kick up. So
Honestly, like, I love the deer camp atmosphere so much,
absolutely,
and the price of tags out of state for me, like,
yeah,
if I wanted a deer hunt with my dad in Illinois, I'm spending at least $1,000
that's crazy.
between the tags, the habitat stamp, travel, food, staying in camp. I mean, we, have a lot of fees, and it's almost worth it for me not to buy the tags and hang out in camp all day.
Absolutely, yeah, that's definitely. I mean, we don't live far away, but it sucks that across state lines. If you come up to deer hunt in Wisconsin, I want to say it's like 160, $180 for a tag, which is less than a lot of other
Is
states. Yeah.
reasonable. Come to Iowa, it's
But
like
you shouldn't pay that to come hunt up by us because there's not much deer up
six,
there.
right? It's like 700 bucks
Yeah.
if you're gonna come and hunt in Iowa. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and as much as I would love to shoot a nice buck up here, I'd almost rather go up north and hang out with the deer camp and the same old crowd and not see much or get a smaller deer or whatever. But
So it's not all about just going out and
oh,
and
absolutely not. I mean, I love venison as much as the next guy, but it's so much more the the experience and the crowd and the you know.
I mean, if you're hurting for venison, like, I'll always help you out.
Like I said, I think next fall I haven't archery hunted in a while, but I'm just gonna a crossbow or something to just shoot something for some venison because this year up at deer camp we didn't. It was not a great year. We need some camp meat.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. And then, of course, turkey camps by you.
Yeah,
We look forward to that every year.
absolutely. Yeah.
We haven't always hunted in that spot though.
Mhm.
So in college, we had a roommate that lived close to Stevens Point, and nobody in his family and at his farm were interested in turkey hunting. So when we approached them, like, "Hey, do you mind if I think I approached him first. It's like, "Hey, do you mind if I try turkey hunting out here?" He was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it. Just, like we've been seeing them here in this corner, and we were lucky enough to I would park the car and then I walked out and just sat there with just decoys pegged into the ground and like, let's see what happens." And I got lucky my first year of turkey hunting, I got one and I was just like over the moon about it. And like I was by myself doing my own thing, got a turkey and I didn't have a camp to share it with. And it was kind of a bummer because I'm so used to that culture where you're like, oh, I got one, like come help me drag them or track them or whatever. But I shot him by myself and I was like, like let's go
Uh,
back.
I guess on this day and age, it's easy enough to put it on Facebook or send people texts and pictures of it. But there's not like the shared hunt, like the we're all going out looking for something, and
As fun as pictures are and like a
Mhm.
post is, like, look at this giant turkey with 2-inch spurs or something insane.
Yeah.
It's not the same as BSing with the guys like, "Oh, he came in. The first thing I saw were his spurs, but that's only because the wind blew his 15-inch beard past his, like that's a lot of fun." And then, um, I just didn't have that for my first turkey. Of course, I was super stoked, and it was super foreign to me shooting a turkey. Like, what do I do with it? And I actually plucked it.
Oh yeah.
I took it in my garage and I plucked all the feathers and was like, "Oh, this is what you're supposed to do." But, we learned later on that, hey, that's not the thing that we're going to do. And then somehow I recruited you to come turkey hunt
So
with
I
me.
think it was either that year or the next year or 2 years. You were like, hey, like we got a spot. I'd never turkey hunted probably before 8 years ago ish. My dad had dabbled into it. Like he had like a shotgun and some ammo stuff, some calls and whatever. And Mark was like, "Hey, come out and try it. You like hunting? You like the woods? Sure. What the hell?" And so I borrowed my dad's 10 gauge smoothbore cannon, basically, and some camouflage stuff I had, and a little. We made some couple blinds and stuff, and literally, what, half hour after first light.
So pretty much the car doors closed and we heard a gobble. And I was like, there's a blind set up over here. Go sit in that spot. You went over there. I like used my flashlight, went to the other spot, and then, flew down from the roost to you.
So, I mean, yeah, first light, I see this big Tom just dragging his fat ass belly and beard across the field, and there was in that corner of that field, there's a little bit of corn standing from the year before. They left it up for whatever reason. And he got to that line. He must have saw my decoys and started walking straight towards me. And I had that gun up, and he was walking down that line. I go, okay, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. And I said, if he stops or like hesitates, I'm gonna shoot. No, he just kept coming, kept coming. Eventually, he kind of like lifted his head up, so just his head was exposed. I went, okay, boom, and I honestly, I don't think he gobbled after he was in the field. So literally a half hour into the first turkey hunt of my life, had that nice Tom down and in the bag, and I thought, well, this turkey hunting is easy. Like, what do you?
I got up. I was at the other edge of the field. I got up and was like, "Yeah, you got one!" Like kind of like the run across the field, like high five, which is way different than being by
Oh
yourself.
yeah,
Being by yourself and like
going
that
back to the camp for
that's
lunch and like,
cool.
did you get anything? You're like, yeah, I got one laying back there.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was like, hell yeah, you got one. Yeah.
So
We like,
all right, I took a couple pictures. I had the thing like, and I was like, man, this turkey hunt thing's fun. Like it was literally a half hour into my first turkey hunt. Had a nice time down. I sent that to people, whatever. And then, well, you moved into the spot then, the hot spot, and I kind of sat below, and I definitely didn't take a nap, if that's what you're thinking. Um, and then what? An hour or two later,
so you decided, oh, I'll stay behind you. I'll work my turkey calls
scouting.
in the prone position,
Yep.
and I'll use my seat cushion as a headrest so I can use my binoculars real well.
Very legitimate,
Hey, this camouflage blanket over me would be a great choice so they don't see me coming.
obviously.
So what had happened was I had this Tom come in and
Mhm.
I kind of turned and was like, "Hey, there's a bird coming.
I was on the other side.
There's a bird coming." And no response, no response. And then I had a big Tom come right in, got the shot
Right
off.
down the wood line. I mean, walk.
Boom! And Ben just became alert suddenly, awake or alert. I don't know what the right word is, but he said, "Oh, did you get him?" I was like, "Yeah, he's flopping around right there." So we doubled up that day from the same spot.
I mean, Mark likes to claim that I was sleeping, but there's no evidence of that. I think. I was just intensely focused on the other way.
Yeah, intensely focused on your eyelids, I think was the
Anyway, we both, within 2 hours of my first turkey hunt, had nice toms down. Man, that's fun. I haven't missed a season since, I don't think.
yeah, so we hunted that private farm for years, and then just as, jobs come around and you move and you shift positions and stuff, like
Both got a couple nice birds out of there.
we did. Even my dad got his first turkey off that
That's right.
property. Um, but we moved and we've become grown-ups, if you will, and have kind of moved away from there, but still we make it a point to do turkey camp every year.
Mhm.
It just so happens that the same guy, Fergie, who does Grouse Fest, invited us to hunt turkeys in like a spot.
Do we say
No,
this?
we're not going to talk about the spot.
Okay.
He invited us to a spot.
Secret spot X.
He invited us to a spot to come turkey hunt with a group of folks he has, so for turkey camp.
Downtown Manhattan.
And then we went out there, we just kind of got together and did that. And then
Yep.
we've added a couple more friends.
And I was new to the area, and I was obviously looking for places to hunt. He said, "Hey, this is kind of where we do it. Like, maybe check out the area." I think you came up that first year, and we saw birds. I don't think we got one.
No,
That was that'd have been 3 or 4 years now. Yep.
somewhere in there.
So the next year we're like, oh well, we'll do it again. We'll pick a week that works, and your buddy Ken came along, and he got his first bird.
It's a brand new place. We know nothing about it. We're doing a lot of like e-scouting. So we get on OnX or Google Maps and are like, this spot looks kind of cool. There's a lot of elevation change here. Like let's go and we'll look at these different parking lots and see how many cars are parked there in the morning.
It's public land, so you're right. That is kind of the hurdle you have to work around.
And sometimes we're like, okay, if there are 2 cars there this morning, we'll move to this other spot. And other times we're like, okay, if there are 4 cars there.
Every year we go, like we increase like places we like to check out. So,
Mhm.
we expand, we check out new spots. I'll do a bunch of scouting sometimes in the spring, and it's working good, man. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for this year.
So our first year we had no successful harvests. We didn't shoot any
It was
turkeys.
just me and you, I think, right? Yep. We saw and heard plenty. Nothing came in.
And then as we moved from year to year, we kind of figured out where some of the regular spots are that the birds like to go.
Yep.
There was a season where I had my Apple Watch and I logged every time we were doing a hike, and we were putting on 7 miles a day.
I know which those fields that were that long hike to, and we saw a lot of birds, saw some toms, but never got anything to come in.
But that same year,
Yep.
we were doing 7 miles a day.
Yep.
So we're putting in the work to figure out where these birds are, and I think we have a couple of pretty tuned in spots now. Last year we went out, 3 birds, came out of the park, and I don't know, we got it done, man. It's been pretty awesome. So, it can be pretty intimidating finding a new plot of public land, especially when you see cars in every freaking parking lot.
And the thing with public land, sometimes you walk on people walk up on you, just be like, oh, sorry, like I'm not trying to get in your space or whatever. It's not like you're competing, for something that's vital to you take that spot, I'll take this spot kind of thing. But
Yeah. Usually for me, when I bump into folks, I'm like, hey, I plan on being over there. Just so you know, like if you hear calls or something from that direction, that's me.
Yeah.
Like I plan on going over there.
I noticed last year, like I was sitting on the edge of that field, and like some guy kind of came over the ridge, like saw me, and I was like, "Hey," he goes, kind of, put his hands up, like, "Sorry," like I'll go head that way, You try to work around that.
Yeah. And then last season, I also injured myself when we were we were turkey hunting, which adds to the turkey camp. So those stories that we tell, that one will live for a long, long time.
You for sure like to get up and move and walk around more than I do. I still do that deer camp thing where I sit in one spot for 6 hours, and if something walks by, cool. If not, I'm not moving.
Yeah, I'm more of a run and gun.
You like
type
to
of guy.
chase them.
Yeah. So, I started in one spot and then, heard him, and I advanced a little bit and set up there, and then you heard him again. Well, what happened is there was this gully, and I went down and was going to cross it, and then I hurt my calf. It popped when I crossed this gully.
Getting old, man.
And I was just like limping, and I almost threw up because of the pain, because I was miserable, and I just like sat down for a minute, and I ended up calling Ben, and I ended up calling a couple other people like, hey, I've messed myself up.
And I was like he wasn't too far from me. I was like, well, I can come drag you. I can like because we parked in the parking lot, and I could have driven up along the top of that ridge, much closer maybe. And be like, I'll get the car, and like if somebody asks questions, be like, the dude's fucking injured, you know?
Yeah. But I just kind of hobbled out of there. I mean, at like a snail's pace, literally a snail's pace. It was like I was dragging my body. It was bad, man. And so I finally get up to Ben.
Almost had to put him down.
But yeah, yeah, like a horse. He is like, hey, oh, his leg's bad. Look at the flowers.
Think about the rabbits, Lenny.
And finally he packs his stuff up and he's like, okay, let's go. And then he just starts walking and then he turns back and he's like, oh,
Oh,
because I was like limping. He's like, I'll get the car. And I was like, no, I could do it. Yeah, it was bad. So I went to the hospital. I got a boot. They gave me some, meds to make sure that I'm not permanently
some marching candy.
messed up. Yeah, marching candy. And then we hunted the rest of the season. Still, I hunted with a boot and
We kind of set you up where you didn't have to go too far, and you got that blind, so you can kind of set up and let them come to you. And we had a lot of success.
we did. So I mean, in talking about stories in hunting camp, I think that's a legendary story. Like, although I did kind of like screw up my leg just walking, I think forever we'll be like, hey, remember
I
that?
think you're going to oversell that story. You'll be like, there I was with a bloody stump of a foot. Dragged myself over 3 miles of broken glass to get that bird.
I threw my foot in the backpack so that they could recover it when I went to the hospital.
Yeah. Well, that's just a great example of just like the random stuff that you don't expect that makes a story though. Like that's the great part I love about hunting. Is it never once ever goes the way you think it's gonna go. You can sit there in your ground blind thinking like, okay, if that buck comes from this way and he's gonna walk there and that's where I'll get him. Never does it happen the way you imagine it's gonna. I think that kind of innate randomness is what makes it exciting.
100% visualize what I think will happen.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, I expect him to come this way. So, you change the position that you sit. And like, if you have a little blind
And
or
you think about the
brush,
ranges and everything else.
yeah, you're like, oh, if they're at that thing, that brush, I can shoot him at this, whatever. But it seems to never happen like we plan on it happening.
As old Uncle Alphonse used to say, you can plan all you want. Truth of it is, it's out of your hands.
Oh, Funky Brass Monkeys is a tradition that we have.
Oh, did you drain yours before me?
I drained it, brother.
That's embarrassing.
That's a tradition we have. Usually it's we'll bet on who shoots a bigger buck. And
I've never won that bet.
So usually that's one of the bets that we make. And this year I happened to get pretty lucky. I was just the right spot at the right time and just closed the deal.
I'm a monster, man.
But there are some other traditions. Yeah, I shot this deer over here. He's a big one. He went 194 and 6/8. Look out. He's just dragging. He's a big old boy. He went 194 and 6/8. Deer of a lifetime. But that's one of the bets that we make for Funky Brass Monkeys. But we have some other traditions as well. Like Ben will come visit us earlier in the year. We'll usually watch the same movie. We have like a movie that we tend to watch and recite the whole damn movie. What movie is it that we watch?
You're not going to tell? Oh, I can tell him?
You got it, buddy.
All right. So Escanaba in the Moonlight. So in I want to say around about 2000, Jeff Daniels, who's a Michigan native, made this movie about deer camp. And it was based on a play. It was a play first and a movie, but it's whimsical and it's stupid and it's ridiculous. At the same time, it brings together like all like the things that deer camp is, like the family and the atmosphere and the bullshit stories and the crazy things that happen. And that is I mean, I watch it multiple times a year. That's always my get ready for deer season movie. And
me too. And Katie, my wife, even is like, okay, we're watching it again. Type of thing. Like, yep, of course, the tradition, we're watching it.
And we quote it so many times about so many things. And
when we get together, we tend to watch that movie.
Yep.
We tend to have Funky Brass Monkey, so there's a lot of a tradition that comes with all of the hunting and the time that Ben spends with his time off. So that movie is one of them.
That's what we're talking about.
If you haven't seen Escanaba into Moonlight, it's not a great movie. Like, I'll openly admit that it's not the best movie out there. It maybe doesn't deserve a Grammy or an Emmy.
Rotten Tomatoes ranks it, but it's probably not high.
Probably like 2. Like,
Oh, I wouldn't say that bad.
but it's part of the tradition. So, of course, I mean, at some point when you're here this weekend, maybe tomorrow midday,
We'll watch it.
we'll put it on and we'll quote the whole.
Try not to quote everything right before they say it, but it's hard not to because it has so many great lines in it.
I'll openly admit, as soon as the ranger comes, it gets real weird.
See, I used to think that. I did. The last many times I've watched it, if you kind of like sit through 20 minutes or whatever, like the end of it is so worth it. Like it's so much the whole message of like, yeah, this whole idea of like putting food on your own family's table and like the camaraderie and like the being excited for other people's good hunts.
Yeah, everybody in that movie is excited for one of the
Well,
guys.
don't spoil it.
For one of the guys,
Yeah.
for whatever reason that
As soon
is.
as like if somebody comes back to deer camp, like, hey, I hit one, let's go get it. And your blood's pumping as if you did.
Always like, oh, what time did you shoot him?
Well, yeah.
What direction was he headed? Was his tail up? Was his
all
tail
those
up?
little details, and like most of the time when you shoot the buck, you're like, oh, I wasn't thinking about where the wind was at the time.
Guy
Like,
blacked out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember, but I.
my heart was going bump, 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 and I was like, there's deer.
Yeah. And there's something special about that too. When you have a camp and there are only like a few deer out of 6, 7, 8 people, and you're like, all right, let's cut them up, and we're going to spread this amongst everybody because this is everybody's cutting firewood, everybody's making
Absolutely.
sure we got snacks covered. I mean, it's like it's a really a team thing.
I don't eat half as good as I do up at deer camp.
Yeah.
We have our camp director is a master chef, and let me tell you, man, I leave 20 pounds heavier than I got there, and it is all so good.
What's the ultimate deer blind or deer stand snack? Like if it were you.
Oh, I don't snack in the stand. That just smells and
Really?
No, never once. No.
Man, what do you do out there then?
My dad takes like those Lifesaver breath mints. I don't bring anything in my pockets. No.
Really?
I don't snack. When I was a kid, a teenager, I would bring my Game Boy out there because it was so boring.
Do you have any lucky or unlucky things? For instance, some people fishing say if you bring a banana on the boat, that's bad luck.
A banana?
A banana on the boat is bad luck.
Oh, that's crazy.
Do you have any
No.
traditions like a pocket knife?
So our camp, their thing was you don't bring your knife with you. You hit a deer, you come back to the cabin, usually get some help, the four-wheeler, the snowmobile, whatever, grab your knife, and then you go let it out. So that's always been a big thing for us. But otherwise, not overwhelmingly, superstitious or anything.
Because to me, that's like a great tool. And like, if I fall out of my tree stand and I'm hanging there and I need something to cut it with, like I need my pocket knife.
Yep.
But I mean, traditions are traditions.
Pocket knife, not buck knife.
Oh, I see. I
Might
see.
be,
There's a difference there.
Yeah, but that was always the big thing. Don't bring your buck knife; it's bad luck. And I'm like, Dad, I haven't shot a deer in 5 years. Like, what more bad luck could I use?
At the same time, I've had a knife with me every time that I've killed a deer.
Yeah. Oh, it's, like I said, like it's a ritual. It's a superstition. It doesn't.
Do you have like lucky socks or lucky underwear?
No, I wouldn't say that. No. Trying to think what other kind of rituals we do. We always opening morning we eat breakfast before we go out. Okay. So we get up, 45 minutes, hour earlier than we would. That's always a big one. Other than that, yeah, no, maybe individually people have their things, but as a camp, we don't have too many stringent rules, I guess. Yeah.
So I hunt some local public land, and I got like some songs that I like to play when I'm on the way to the hunting spot before I park.
Okay.
Like Fred Bear.
Oh, sure.
By Ted Nugent. That's one of them that gets played. I don't really have anything else that's crazy. I mean, hike out and make sure you got snacks and,
Okay, but again, your guys' hunting is like you go out in the morning and you sit all day and you come back at night.
Yeah. Dark to dark.
Yep. See, where we hunt, it's usually, just Northern Wisconsin being colder, you go for a couple hours in the morning, come back, we have lunch, you go for a couple hours in the evening, you know? It's just like it's below 0 with 3 feet of snow, it's not always practical to sit out there all damn day.
especially when it's 20 degrees.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
this year weather was pretty good this year. Yeah.
Well, and then you go from that where the time of day, like daylight for deer hunting,
Mhm.
is fairly short when you compare it to turkeys.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing that we always, run into is because like, deer hunting, our style at least, you get up early, go for a couple hours, come back, have lunch, maybe nap for an hour or 2, go back. You're done with dark 5 o'clock. You're back at the cabin, you have dinner, and then you have time to kill because you don't gotta be up until, I don't know, 5 o'clock, whatever it is in the morning. Turkey hunting, we found that there's a lot more daylight and you hunt a lot later. And you get back from the hunt, you're like, well, I guess we can go to sleep for 4 hours and get up and do it again. So we end up taking pretty good naps midday, I think.
Midday naps, and then when you wake up, just like chug a monster.
Mhm.
That seems to help quite a bit. Um,
This
just
turkey hunt has been brought to
oh my
you
gosh.
by Monster. Yeah.
I don't sleep a ton when I'm in the woods, but turkey hunting is probably more tempting than deer hunting because the length of day.
I would agree with that.
We make a good point to come back, refresh, eat,
Mhm.
take a nap on the couch. I mean, we say, "Hey, let's just like put a movie on or play Tony Hawk or whatever." And then, inevitably we end up just napping for an hour or 2. There was one year even where we came back to your place, we, like, put something on the TV and just woke up, like, 3 hours later, and we're like, "Hey, I holy shit, look what time it is.
You
We
know?
we need to get out into the turkey
Well,
woods."
especially because usually we're, 3, 4, 5 days by that couple last days. It's a different schedule. You get burnt out for
Yeah.
sure.
It's interesting that we find, something to do with our time off
Mhm.
that takes so much energy out of us. We're like napping in midday, and then we're sleeping at night hard. I mean, I don't think I've ever slept as hard as I have at deer camp after you dragged a deer out of the woods. But for some reason, for me at least, recovery from working so hard at my job is like, oh, I just need this time to be with my people and do my thing.
Mhm.
Um, but it's exhausting. I mean, we're covering miles, we're hiking our asses off.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of hobbies, but hunting is you're outdoors. You're moving between stands. You're moving back and forth. You're dragging stuff. Yeah. It's definitely a workout for sure.
So hunting is like your big thing that you like to spend your time
For
off
sure.
doing,
Yeah, probably
right?
good
Admitted, we talked some stories.
2/3 of what I spend my time off as hunting.
So when it's time to go back to work, right?
Yep.
I mean, are you just exhausted from hunting all week, or what does it do for you that prepares you to go back to work?
Well, working at a optics company, everybody there hunts. Everybody likes to hear the hunting stories. Everybody wants to hear, we're for the most part outdoorsy people. So like, it's kind of almost like it's not too bad to go back to work because like you get to tell the stories of things that happen. You get to be like, oh yeah, this is what I at the deer hunt, whatever. So it's not too bad really, but I mean, definitely the drag of just like, back to work,
I work a nature center, and I get a lot of people that come through and are like, "Oh,
allegedly.
yeah, allegedly." That come through and say, "Hey, I went and hunted this spot and I ran into people and da 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 da." Well, sometimes those people are me, you know? And so it's kinda nice to hear some stories. It's kind of like a gradual thing getting back into working from hunting.
Okay.
So it's not as like, "Oh, hunting's over. We're
Uh,
just working, just applying for grants and funding things." It's kind of
yeah,
like a gradual, like, "Oh, I was just hunting too. Tell me about it." And well, if they're visitors
I get a
heading,
lot about that too. Yeah.
yeah, if they're visitors at the nature center, like, I'm obligated by my job description to talk about
Oh,
hunting
they're just
stories.
fishing for hunting spots is
Oh,
how they're doing it.
yeah,
Yeah, for
this is
sure.
100%, which, I don't share exactly where I go, but I like to talk about, all of the available spaces.
Sure. Not the great hunting spaces, but the available.
The available the available ones. So it's pretty tough sometimes to come back from, "Hey, I just hunted the rut and, I'm back to work." I have to do sometimes I have tasks that I don't like to do, but mostly, like, my job is, like, perfectly aligned with the things that I like.
Hmm.
But that transition to coming back to work is not always an easy thing when you've had time off,
Sure.
whether it's a vacation going to, like, Mexico or to a wedding or to something, you spent your PTO on. Um but sometimes it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but I work with a lot of people who love to hunt, love to fish, and like they want to hear the stories and they want to, celebrate each other's victories, their time outdoors. So, and it's a pretty, I'll say, diverse cast of like folks. We got like my boss, uh, in the lab there. He doesn't hunt at all. Like he doesn't really shoot guns. He just his fishing is his things. And I'm not like I'm a pretty amateur fisherman. I love to go, but it's not my main thing. Like, he just comes back, "Oh, look what I caught." "Oh, yeah, look what I shot." It's
Let's develop an optic to look through the water.
someday,
That would be sweet. I wonder if like Google Lens could come up with something like that. You could see the topography of the lake or
it'd be
like
weird just see like a riverbed and like fish just like floating in midair.
Fish Finder. Like I've always wondered like how many fish have swam past my bait, you know, and just like said nope.
Or how many times like my dad's got a little fish finder on his boat and it's 10 years old and it just shows a little blip of a fish at some depth and but he won't stop that boat to fish unless he sees blips of fish. You know, that's one of those is like, it almost be better just doing this blind because yeah, if you're chasing blips on the little outdated fishing radar.
For a new hunter, for somebody who hasn't experienced hunt camp or who hasn't experienced deer camp, grouse, whatever, um, what advice do you have for them before they take on this endeavor of hunting?
I know it's hard to explain to like someone who's not done it, but like treat it as an overall experience. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't get a deer, you don't get a turkey, whatever. Look at the whole part. You have fun hanging with the boys. Maybe after the hunt, you went and got some beers, whatever. You'll sit and talk to guys who hunted their whole lives, and they'll have 100 stories about the buck that got away, or the time they missed one, or the time their truck got stuck, and they had to, like
Mhm.
so much more around it than just I went out, shot a deer, got it, and dragged it home. You
There is
know,
like this bonding thing that you get with the people that you hunt with as well.
absolutely. Well, it's
So
the same with sports or anything else. Like you do an activity with people, you know
there's
get
a
close.
guy that I've deer hunted with for years. We call him Uncle Eddie. He's not my uncle by any means. His name is Ed, and I've been in person with him maybe 8, 10 times in my life, but he's like family to me. And he has the best deer hunting stories. Now, Ed, he notoriously has the deer named Kevlar.
Mhm.
He was out there in the deer blind. The deer came out. He had his crosshairs perfectly squared on, the crease. He pulled the trigger, and the deer must have been wearing a Kevlar vest
That's
because
the only explanation.
because it ran away and the bullet must have bounced past him.
Yep.
I think being open to those stories, and like if somebody's telling a deer story or a hunting camp story, although it sounds like bullshit, which a lot of the stories are,
Exaggerated a little bit, maybe.
let them go. That's part of the fun is like
Absolutely.
the storytelling. I love that part of hunting camp, and I think that there's like some primal thing in us that like to embellish what happens in our hunting experience and our
Story of
stories.
the hunt.
Plus we're sitting out there for so long imagining what is going to happen. When something actually happens, it's like this is our imagination
Mhm.
combined with what really happened. Do you have some big storytellers at your deer camp?
Oh, I mean, everyone, especially because my dad's in his 70s and all his buddies have been deer hunting there 30, 40, 50 years, like going back for decades and decades. So like everybody has so many stories. And the coolest part is like you hear them all the time. Every year you hear the same stories and new ones and stuff. But and then kind of you guess how like how they change over time. You'd be like, wait a minute, that's not what you said last time. Like, and just, I mean, like, it's like everybody has, and it's not always just like success stories. It's like that time, like, oh man, I was in the bush and had a crap so bad and then walked past an 8-pointer, like those stories are fun too.
Mhm.
So like, that's what I mean. Like, don't think of it as like an end game. Like if I don't get a deer, I failed. It's an experience. It's amazing.
Sometimes the most memorable stories also have a very awesome learning thing that comes out of them.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, if you're ever going to try to take a crap in the woods, have your rifle within reach. or like bring TP. You don't want to be the guy with the short sleeve, because you don't have toilet paper or whatever. Um,
Absolutely.
there are those stories that stick in your mind, and you're like, oh, I don't want to be that guy. So of course I'm going to make sure I'm prepared.
And the best stories too are when you can try telling a story and be like, "Hey, Mark, what happened after that?" And Mark just goes, "Well, I don't want to talk about it." Like,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I know that at some camps, if you miss a deer, they cut like a big chunk out of your shirt,
Leg?
out
Oh,
of the back of it. Yeah, out of your leg, out of the back of your shirt, like your tail. They cut the tail of your shirt out.
no,
So if you missed one, it's like, oh, look at him, this jerk off.
oh no. See, we have every range of stories from I was shooting at that deer till they ran out of shells, and then like, oh well, I only brought one bullet. Guess I got to make it count.
I acknowledge that in learning to hunt, and if you want to give hunting a try, there is like this hump where it's like the cost to try it is so high. It's like, oh, I want a rifle. Oh, I need ammo. I need an optic. I need camouflage. I need blaze orange. I need a truck. I need a tree stand. I need all these things here. Do you have any advice to anybody who is intimidated by that?
That's where definitely like having friends, having a crew who's done it before. Like the first time we went turkey hunting, like I had a shotgun. I think I had some camouflage clothes. And I'm pretty sure I borrowed yours or my dad's calls or whatever. Like, there are people who have been doing it for a long time who would love to teach people how to do it. There's a lot of outdoor conservation groups that are like, hey, new hunters, try turkey hunting or try deer hunting. There's so much out there that like people are just ready to like help you do it and not like they're not competitive about it. It's not like, well, if I teach him to deer hunt, that's one less deer for me to shoot. Absolutely not. Almost any hunter will be like, you want to hunt? Hell yeah, come with us. It's so much out there for folks trying to, if they want to, get into hunting or anything really.
What's sad is like this thing that so many people like you and I are passionate about, like hunting deer or turkey, whatever
Mhm.
we're hunting. Um, like we love it. It is like the bread and butter of our lives. We're working our butts off 40 plus hours a week so that we can do this little thing within such,
Knowing that 3 months from now,
you know,
I get to go turkey.
yeah. But what's kind of sad about it is like the amount of tags that are purchased, and the amount of people that are taking hunters safety,
Mm.
that number is declining. So the number of people that are hunting, um, do in the reports from the DNR
Yeah.
saying that there are less harvests, there are
Tag numbers and
less
stuff, yeah.
people buying licenses, less people involved in hunting. This is a thing that is so valuable to us, but people aren't doing it as much as time goes on. It is kind of something unique, I think, to the time that we're in. And I don't know if that's due to like screen time or if it's due to
Um,
people having other interests
if I
or
had to
what.
guess, there's just so much more now for people to do, and attention spans have gotten shorter, and nobody wants to sit in a tree stand for 37 hours before a deer walks by.
Yeah.
Might be some of that
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely could be, especially you have no phone service in your tree stand.
That's the best part.
Like,
Shut it out. I don't even bring it out in the woods.
I agree. I think part of the refresh is that we don't look at our screens so much. I think we need to do
That's
that.
when I mean, I use my phone as much as anybody else, but when I go up north, either to our cabin or deer camp, I shut that off and it doesn't come on for 2 weeks, and that is, that's that cleanse.
We usually place the bet of funky brass monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually have a text or a call that is like, are we officially doing the bet again this year? Although we know we're going to do it,
Oh,
you
yes.
know,
We never
um,
shied away from it.
because when Ben goes to deer camp, he has no service and he's gone.
Mhm.
So we need to make sure that we do that before it's deer camp time. And then once it is confirmed, then I don't hear from Ben until the season's over.
Yep.
I'll
For
text.
we come home for Thanksgiving usually, then I'll yep.
I'll like send a picture if I get one, or I'll send, hey, let me know how camp is done, how things are
Once in a
going.
while, we'll go to the bar in town, and they have, enough
hmm
service to get a signal through, yeah.
But I know that he's not going to respond while he's hunting. He's going to get the message whenever and then respond when he can. Um, so it's important that with our 40s, our funky brass monkeys, that we're setting that thing before hunting camp starts. But yeah, getting off the grid, getting off of screen time. There is something to be said about people who are in the stand on their phone versus people who are on their stand observing. Because
Yeah.
if you're observing, if you're picking up on all of the little things, you're learning more about hunting and you're learning more about.
Even just, I want to say, like, just from a patience aspect, because I've been like bow hunting since I was a kid, and like, you think kids these days can sit there for 3 hours and just not really move, not really, just let your mind wander. So you kind of like come up with like mind games or tricks. Like sometimes I'll,
I like the game of how far away is that thing?
oh yeah, that's a great one
And
for
you hit
sure.
it with the rangefinder, you're like, I bet you
You
that
do
tree
the,
is
what if
is
they come from that way? What if they come from that way? Yeah.
is it quiet enough where I can stand up and turn? Or do I need to pivot this way?
And a lot,
Will the bottom cam of my bow hit on the seat that I'm sitting
a
on?
lot of times you're just watching squirrels too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I've also been known to draw my bow and kind of move around to see what I can get away with
Mhm.
when it comes to movement too, because they pick, I mean, most critters,
Like I said, it'll never happen the way you think it's gonna.
most critters look for general movement. They don't look for a specific guy in a tree with a thing. They just look for some kind of movement. And if you're not what they're used to, they're like, I'm out of here. Kind of thing. So if somebody's looking to try deer hunting or grouse or turkey, whatever, for the first time,
Hmm.
try and find a group that's into it. There are
Absolutely.
a lot of organizations. NWTF. There's Whitetails Unlimited. Your local conservation departments, whether it's state or county.
They have a lot of, I mean, it's literally called like first time hunters program and stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and there's even resources in your hunter's safety course. I mean,
Hmm.
once you take that, then typically they will try to align you with some people with some similar interests, and I highly suggest finding a group of people to try these hunting things with. You can do all the research you want online, and that's great. That will help you. It'll give you a leg up in a lot of situations. How to call for turkeys, how to call for deer, how to grunt, how to rattle. Those things are great, but a big piece of what we do with our time off, it has to do with people.
Because the people you do with. Absolutely.
Yeah. So my suggestion to people is if this is something that you want to try, just like we tried shooting at the pistol range competition today,
Somewhat successfully.
somewhat successfully, find some people locally that have that interest, and then find some support to do it so you don't feel as intimidated. It's an intimidating thing.
Hmm. The thing about it is, like, what people enjoy to do, they love it when more people do that. Like, very, very rarely are they like, well, if this person hunts, that's less deer for me. Like, no, no one really thinks like that. They want more people involved in it. Not even hunting, board games, bowling, darts, whatever it is. Like, people want more people to do it, and it grows and expands, and there's more, more competition, more fun to be had, really.
Mhm. If you think about it, if you're in a room full of people, like at a conference or whatever between your work, and you find people that also do the stuff that you like,
Hmm.
you will gravitate towards those people the entire conference because we want people to do the cool
Hmm.
stuff we're doing, and there's some sort of like connection between people that.
And again, everybody loves a good hunting story.
Oh yeah.
For good, for bad, the time you got the greatest buck, the time you were, you sneezed too loud, you dropped your gun out the tree stand, and the buck of your life walked by. The people love those stories, and they're just get out there and hunt because they make themselves. Really, you don't have to be a good narrator. Life is going to throw you some curveballs that are, well, interesting or funny or crazy.
Absolutely. So, Ben,
Hmm?
once again, thank you for joining us for the Paid Time Outdoors
Thanks
podcast.
for having me.
Um, I really enjoyed having the first in-person guest come out here. So we're following some tradition on this podcast by having our funky brass monkeys. Hunting is a big thing in your life. I appreciate you coming on so much. So what does our future look like? We have some hunting coming up here in the next few months.
We got turkey camp in the spring.
Yeah.
Usually kind of a hiatus in the summer. I'll go fishing a few times, whatever. I always do grouse hunting in the fall. I got deer hunting in the fall, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Ben, he's working in optics. He is an outdoorsman. He enjoys hunting camp. All of those things are what describes Ben. So in your paid time off, maybe you want to give one of these things a try. Maybe you even want to have a funky brass monkey as a celebration to something that you're practicing. So Ben, thanks again for joining us for the Paid Time Outdoors podcast, and we'll see you guys again for the next episode.